call. Trevor Bundy here, Riley Amundson
Here.
Charles Foster here, Tyler Evans here, Joel Holscher, present, Julie Lyon,
Here.
Matt Watnick
Here.
Kayla Frazier, and Pete are also present. Okay, let's start with public time. Austin is here with Colton Friends of Baseball. He's gonna kind of tell us about a project that they're working on with the big fields and how it's gonna coexist with what Vander and Weston is presenting tonight too. So,
Well, we're looking at doing some major upgrades to the ball field. And we're trying to get some people in the area and the community to donate to it. We're in the very beginning stages of it, so we're kind of trying to get all our ducks in a row kind of. And one of the issues that we've kind of come across is the drainage and how we're gonna make that thing work. What we want to do is put an infield, and the turf infield requires that we have drain tile put underneath to get the water off it. And we're running into how we're going to do that because the land is really flat. So some of those obstacles that we came across, maybe the city could help out with how we tie into that and can move forward with it. If we can get the drainage thing solved, I think we're well on our way to getting this thing kind of rolling down the road.
Yep.
So
we originally were looking at doing this project anyways, or some sort of drainage off of their 6, where that low spot where on the road where it always breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole deal where we're just gonna go off to the railroad, but we couldn't, the railroad won't allow us to go that way. So now we're trying to find alternative routes to get that out. So
Okay.
the drain tile and all that. So
I don't suppose, have we talked to the resident up there at the corner about possibly
I don't think we have
going
the elevation
to the south, or is that kind of going the
I don't
wrong
think we
way?
have the
I don't,
elevation to go that
I know,
direction.
like you said, it's really flat there, but honestly, that field's in a bowl. It's the bottom of the bowl.
I don't, going south is probably not the option. It's just
Yeah.
due to
we've kind of gone,
elevations.
we've kind of gone through that, and what they've talked about is you eventually run out of fall to
Right.
get to that area, and you'll pop up on the ground and you'll carry it through some sort of drainage ditch or something that's on
Sure.
the surface. So it would be nice if everything from the big ball field came to the north to drain that way. So
Where does it go from there?
Goes to right over here, comes into this creek right here on 5th Street.
Oh, okay.
There's a drain tile that comes all the way down 5th Street, dumps in there.
There's a 6-inch drain tile right now up by the park, but it's not an adequate size to get rid of all of this.
Yeah.
So, Weston, you want to kind of get some notes on that then?
Yeah, I will. And Michaela already included these in your packet, but I guess I do have an 11x17, so it's a little bigger figure to look at.
You want one?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No.
Thank you. Thank you for the gifts.
So maybe first we can cover the storm sewer system, and then we can kind of go back to this funding summary that I have on here. So like Trevor had mentioned, the storm sewer system, we had originally planned to discharge that to the railroad right of way during the design, kind of between preliminary and final design, presented that to the railroad. The railroad denied that request, and it killed the project, or killed that portion of the project. Now we have identified an alternate route, and this alternate route is a more expensive route. Part of the reason why that wasn't the original suggestion is because now we're going to go underneath additional city street. It's going to cost more money to replace surfacing, and then the route is longer itself. So there's going to be another, I don't know what the exact footage is, but another 500-600 feet of pipe that's going to have to go around. There is existing infrastructure there, like Jared had mentioned. It's a 6-inch drain tile. That 6-inch drain tile runs through private property. There is no easement on that drainage facility. So the suggestion would be probably, if you're gonna do an improvement, put the improvement in the city's right of way. Now, by that had already been identified as a drainage issue on 6th Street. So that there's a side benefit of helping, the ball field as well, because if they're gonna do some improvements, put in a drain tile, make it an outlet, so we get mutual benefit between the ball field and fix the drainage problem on the road. Because that roadway right there, and Jared will attest to this, that roadway, it gets a frost boil in the summer or in the spring, and that road normally goes, deteriorates and has issues during the summer, during the late fall. I don't know how many times you've done repairs over there, but
Several times.
so it's kind of a continual maintenance item. That's not going to go away until the drainage issue is resolved. And so that would be this alternative one. So we're calling it a reroute of the storm sewer. That reroute would be to run storm sewer pipe west from the ball fields, go west on 6th Street, north on Iowa to get up to 5th Street, and then continue west until we can connect into the existing storm sewer infrastructure at the Sherman and 5th intersection. Any questions regarding the route, the necessity of putting in a storm sewer system?
How much of the road are we ripping up? The whole thing?
10 feet.
Just
Yeah.
10 feet?
So it'd be the curb and gutter, because we'd like to run that pipe underneath the curb and gutter. It'd work out well with inlet or with just
Mhm.
inlet positioning. And then generally you have to take at least 10 feet to get a paver in. That's about as narrow as you can get a paver. So yeah, it'd be 10 feet of roadway, so we could pave that section road back.
Okay.
Hey, no, I know, you and I didn't talk about this, but no, I'm just kind of looking at this and it just clicked to me. That original route, to the railroad, that yellow line there, is there a reason that we can't take that as the elevation fall and then go back towards the north?
You talking on Dakota?
Oh, go north on Dakota.
Or, yeah, is there?
Yes, we do lose elevation as we start going west towards that railroad.
Okay.
We'd have to build that corner up, because where it's showing, where that yellow line ends,
Mhm.
that pipe is daylighted right there. So
Okay,
Yeah, it was like, what?
we were gonna have
80
to,
feet back from the tracks is where we ran out of slope, and it was just gonna daylight out it.
and we were gonna have to do some grading work and actually build that area up, even with the plan we had, and
So-
discharging at that point.
So where does this storm sewer come out at? This whole drainage
This is the
channel
one that will connect.
Currently, or?
currently?
It, in, where the lumberyard is, right here on
Yep.
5th and Sherman. On the west side of the road, there's that drainage ditch that runs along the elevator.
Yep.
It all drops right into there.
Where does that go from there?
It runs,
Underneath, it goes
Along
to
the railroad
TOP
tracks?
and then to
Yeah.
Daybreak.
follows the
Or across
railroad
the
tracks,
corner.
basically.
It runs north then?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then there's that one
Yeah.
culvert.
It
on the railroad
goes-
track
It goes
by the fire
this
station.
way.
Yeah, so
And then goes
from
out back
here,
around
it
storage
goes
units.
under the road
Yep.
and then it comes out in that drainage ditch
Yep.
here.
And goes
then
that
it
way.
Continues all the way.
I was under the assumption that that drainage ditch ran to the south.
Oh,
It'd be uphill.
And it is flat along the railroad, that drainage ditch is very flat. So one thing to consider with running storm sewer, because existing, we have a 6-inch drain tile. If we put in, per se, I'm showing it as a 24-inch pipe, and we'll size that appropriately. But if we put in a 24-inch pipe, and now we're gonna send a 24-inch pipe worth of water through that drainage ditch that already has drainage issues downstream, we need to do some type of detention, some type of retention on that upstream end. Or we need to do, and we will, do a drainage analysis to make sure that we're not impacting that downstream property with the additional water that they'll be receiving.
Cause it follows the railroad tracks, right, Pete? And it goes out past, Fort All, right there where
No, it goes out of town on Second Street.
it does go,
Yeah,
okay,
Right next to Cole's big shed over there.
okay, so it does go that way.
Basically what Weston's saying is, you know, right now we're currently moving water with a 6-inch pipe. And if we make that a 24-inch pipe, we're gonna speed the water up.
Plus you're taking all
We
that
just wanna
water out of
make
the
sure
ball
that we're
field.
not gonna make a bigger headache for us down like at daybreak or, you know.
Yeah, because it's a fairly decent sized pipe that goes under the road to Daybreak, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just runs back behind Daybreak.
Well, there's some, that's kind of a somewhat of a detention.
Well, it just goes under the highway, and then there's a culvert right there where it goes under the railroad tracks. And then it gets on the west side of the railroad tracks, follows the railroad tracks over to Second Street, and then it shoots out in a culvert underground.
Okay.
And it would be the same thing, you know, by the elevator there, so behind the post office, behind the funeral home, you know, that, we're gonna be sending more water through that channel there, so. I mean, that's something to consider as well, and we will have to consider how are we modifying that peak flow, and how are we impacting that high water elevation during rain. So that goes into this, and it will be part of that design. So, as I said, if we need to do something, there may be a need to have some type of detention at the ball field to hold that water and discharge it at a slower rate. And what we've discussed preliminarily is doing underground detention. Underground, if anybody's familiar with it, it's done a lot of times under parking lots. Schools will do it a lot, maybe under their parking lots, just because they don't have the space to do a pond type of detention.
Yeah, I think that'd probably be the honest, best way to go, slowly release that water.
Where would that pond go?
Well, it'd be a collection of underground pipe,
Sure.
pipe underground.
Yeah, I think I've seen it
It's
before.
best to be in a green space, because you don't have to worry about loading over top of it. But you can put underneath a parking area too.
So if we did it
So
just right in this whole area here,
Like the concession stand there.
right behind, just to the north of the concessions, kind of parking is, I guess.
So,
And then there's, I think, is there a couple trees there?
yeah,
We'd
I
have
mean,
to
we'll
remove,
address
but
that issue. when
we-
it comes, yeah.
we already talked about putting more trees up anyway, so that would be a good place, I think, to put
Well,
some.
there's gonna be some stuff with what they have designed up there. There's gonna be a lot of changes back around that area anyway.
I was
The
gonna say,
trees won't be there anymore.
Yeah.
We'll put them somewhere else.
with the concession,
Tree somewhere else, basically.
Yeah,
Pete, that ditch down on the gravel road wouldn't be low enough
yeah.
on the north side of the gravel road where the tracks are on the south. There's that ditch to the north of the gravel road.
So that's like the lowest point right there in that area.
Is that ball diamond?
Yeah.
Well, just to the south of the ball diamond in the trees.
Yep, yep.
Kind of the lowest point right there.
Okay.
So we could get water to that spot, but we can't get rid of it.
Issues where it crosses
Under the gravel road to
First Street
the,
here on the edge
what
of
I'm
town.
calling
We've had
the
issues
south,
where it
E
floods
of
through
southwest, it's up, the elevation's higher on us. I mean, that's why we're-
No, that's unusual circumstance.
Yeah.
It does. but
usually have standing water there once in a while.
heavy rain.
Well, what I was thinking is, cause right there by like where you guys park the campers, you always have, it's always soft there for you, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if there was a way you could pop out there and then run along that gravel road down. So like where this little gravel road is here off of Park,
Oh, run north down the gravel.
we'll go south down the gravel and dump out just south of Park where those two little gravel roads tie together.
I think, so the issue would be is right where the camper pads are, that's kind of that's one of the highest peaks in the park, like the high
Yeah,
spot.
that's what I was thinking.
So everything, you know, to run water to the highest point in the park.
Well, you just have to dig deeper,
Right,
to get your elevation down, but I wasn't sure what that where the intersection is, the elevation there, if that would be low enough, because you could also come down Park,
I think our
pick-
issues
pick up
getting-
that culvert and come down Park.
I don't think we have the elevations from the ball field to get over there.
no, we don't.
Over to that gravel road.
Cause I think
We
when
already
Weston,
know
didn't you
that.
already say you kind of already kind of,
So we had looked at that,
you almost start
really to
daylighting.
try to bring something underground and pipe it that way. You wouldn't be able to daylight it until you got under the road across the tracks. And then maybe you'd be able to daylight it to the south and to the west.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure, does this map have it on here? No, they don't. But like where this gravel road and this gravel road tie together, I wasn't sure this ditch here, north of the gravel road where we don't got to deal with the railroad.
Right.
And there is a culvert under to that roadway right there.
Yep, for your drainage from the west to the east.
Yeah, I think we kind of looked at that initially and it just with the elevations, it wasn't gonna work to go south.
I was just thinking, the least amount of invasive way possible, to where you could still pull the water off of Sixth Street there and yet get down and out somewhere without having to worry about different infrastructure elsewhere, is what I was kind of thinking.
And we had kind of investigated kind of a mass grading of the ball field area to try to build that up, to shed water and then use where the trees are at to the south, try to use that as a detention area. But again, you have to acquire that property first. And it'd still require quite a bit of grading work to get that drainage directed that way.
The only other invasive way is if we go and ask for an easement through some of these properties. And if we have any issues, then,
Mm-hmm.
I did pull the folder of
easements, did you find any on these ones over here?
There's about this many.
There's
So
not
I
that
wasn't
many.
sure
Which to start?
where.
You talking right here, going through,
Yeah.
go straight north? So it'll be like right here, get their
Well,
drainage
we could
too.
go, yeah, there's that, but I don't know if we could go. Would you say that in easement, would we just go straight north off the ball fields west end and then go down the street, or do you think we could sneak through?
See, I don't know, that existing one doesn't go straight through, doesn't it go to diagonal? Jerry, that existing drain tile doesn't kind of go north and then veer off to the west and get to this one?
I think it's
Or does it go
fairly
straight?
straight through,
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking of the actual topography. I think that drainage cuts to the west.
Mhm.
Okay.
But that's something the council needs to decide if we want to go through people's properties and.
Mhm. And there may not be a lot of savings by doing that. You are gonna be running a property line. I don't know what's in the way, and it looks like there's trees in the way that you have to remove.
There are some pretty large trees that go right through there. That would probably be in the way, and
it's better if you can keep it out on the.
Yep.
On your own property, city property.
Okay, another question. Since we'll be going on Fifth in Minnesota, isn't that a pretty good dip? Because right now, there's no culvert. Would that be something you could put a drop inlet into that same culvert and get rid of the water there?
I think that should be the intent.
And then actually flatten out that intersection a little bit so it's not such a, and probably the same thing with Iowa and
Because there's valley gutters that run.
yeah.
Valleys that go through each one of those.
But then you're starting to pull a lot more water into that same system that's already,
Well, not necessarily, because all the water on Fifth Street already going to where we're bringing the water, so.
does it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not
trust me.
introducing any more water.
I
The only
know.
water that we're really introducing new would be the.
My whole
the ball
intersection
field.
floods every time it rains.
You know, that-
You know, well, like he said,
Otherwise, all
his
that- all
inter,
the other existing water is
So-
flowing to that spot anyway.
Yeah.
I'm right at the corner at Fifth and Iowa, and
Okay.
anytime we get any heavy rain, it's over into my yard every
Uh-huh.
time. Just
That's-
Okay.
great, because everything drains.
It's flat.
You
Right
want
there.
to-
Yeah.
Yeah, everything comes.
Which quadrant are you on?
I'm right here. I live right here. So this corner,
Mhm.
it struggles to get across the street
Mhm.
to flow this way. So it comes down and it kind of builds up right here. And then it slowly just starts to drain off.
So there will be some improvements to the drainage, but since we are limited to that 10-foot width on the roadway, you still have to match into the existing roadway. So we can do some work with the vertical, profile
Yeah.
of the curb and gutter
Yeah.
to help that out and drain water. But we'll only be able to do so much.
no, but what I'm saying is can't we put a drop inlet at that
Mhm.
corner
Yep.
to absorb, to pull the water off the corner into the pipe and get rid of it?
And that'll be the benefit of hopefully running that storm sewer into curb and gutter. We can put inlets in the curb and gutter, capture some of that storm water.
Well, when the street was done, it should have been done properly to begin with. There should have been drains on these intersections instead of just right here.
Well, in theory, every street should have that, but the town was built a long time ago before they believed in storm sewers.
Is this,
Well, this is
denoting that
pretty
it's on the
newer
west
street,
side of
though.
Iowa
This
and
street
south side
from
of the
Minnesota
street
to
is
the
where
railroad
that
tracks
storm
is
drain is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it was replaced, but it was designed
Well,
how many years ago? And
no, they,
did they?
yeah.
Okay.
They did
No,
everything
they did.
that's what started to-
Yeah, everything underground was
Yeah,
all done.
nope, and
Everything
that's
was
fine.
cheaper for us.
I was just making sure I was
Mhm.
on the right
Cause I
idea there. that
Bowen
you're
of all
having it on the
people
west side.
shoot my butt one day. He's like, you guys need to get storm sewer out in front of that lumberyard. Every time it rains, the water comes over the curb. I'm like, Mike, you were mayor when you completely rebuilt that street. Why did you put it in?
And you had meant, just talking about the drainage. So at the ball field there, so there is natural detention already right there because it's in a sump or a sag. And so that, on a heavy rain, and Tyler knows because he lives at Fifth and Iowa, on a heavy rain, that water comes up and it goes north and then it goes west. So it's still gonna flow over land on heavy rain. We're the only impact that we would have for the, I guess, stormwater impact downstream is whatever would have been retained by that sump. It's now gonna have a drain or an outlet to it. So that's part of the reason why we want to investigate some detention. So that way we're still providing a place for that water that was in the sump to go and not increasing that peak flow downstream. But everything will drain, it'll still drain adequately. And primarily we want to get the water away from the roadway. So that way we're not saturating the subgrade, saturating the base course. So in the spring, that roadway deteriorates or that frost pushes that saturated base up.
Any idea on what, a street level drain would cost? on
Drop
that?
inlet.
And where you would put it? Would it have to be right in this corner?
Well, I did draw in kind of preliminary alignment. So I've got 11 inlets along here.
Okay.
So you'd probably cut the corner. You'd set an inlet on, so on that southwest quadrant,
Okay.
south on Iowa, you'd set an inlet and then you cut the corner, you go diagonal across the corner to another inlet. So if that was the intersection here, set an inlet there, come across, set an inlet there.
Gotcha. And then it would probably,
You wanna go and cost right down there?
Because that'll be a big, part of this discussion is the cost of doing this one. Right. So back to the summary sheet, and I'll summarize the funding package, and I know I've went through this a couple times, but to reiterate it, So the city had sent in this figure that we're looking at minus the markups. This was sent in for funding back in December 2021. And that funding was awarded in the spring of 2022. And that funding included an ARPA grant of the $2,107,000, a clean water quality grant of $110,000. So the total grant dollars that were awarded was just over 2.2 million. And then to subsidize that remainder to fund the project, the state had given the city a loan of just short of $400,000. So the total project funding that the city has is 2.6 million. Going into that next column there, I'm going to kind of call it, these are the funds that have been obligated, I'll say. So phase 4, the sanitary sewer rehab project, that's a project that's going on, nearing a close. Forecasting that project to come in at a final construction cost of $1,032,000. And then I've got the phase 5 scope of work, which hasn't been completed yet, hasn't been bid out, but that's on 2nd Street from Main to Charles. So we're estimating that to be about $440,000 for construction.
Is that red there?
That would be that red on the figure, yep.
Okay.
And then the contract that the city has with Banner would be the engineering for the surveying, design, and bidding, and then this construction, staking, observation, admin. Those are those two values of 188 and 166,000. And then there's an allowance for geotechnical engineering, which is the investigation of the subsurface. We had geotech come out and do some soil borings. They're going to be needed during construction as well. And then the last part, the administrative and legal. So that's at $33,300. That covers the cost of your bond counsel. So if you Meyer Henry bond counsel going through, and then also the planning district, so CCOG. So the total cost, I'd say that's obligated of those funds that we talked about is $1,869,000. So the difference between those two, that about 800,000 or 750,000, is what the city would have remaining that's not obligated. And I guess any questions in those first two of those first two items?
He said roughly 750 remaining without doing the math.
Yeah. I suppose. So from that figure that I do have out there, I've got 3 alternatives illustrated on the figure. So alternative 1 is that reroute of the storm sewer we had just discussed. Alternative 2, as you recall, we weren't able to reline that segment of storms or sanitary sewer by the elevators. And so it was investigated to try to have that installed with the current contract that you have. The cost came in higher than what we would have expected. And the route that we had requested was along the railroad. We didn't request pricing on the route out on the street, just for the fact we knew that there was going to be a street project coming up 4th Street and didn't want to tear that up twice. So that would be alternative 2 that I have illustrated there. And then alternative 3 is the replacement of the sanitary sewer segment on 4th Street from Park Avenue going to the east, which would be going east towards the development. Now, I have had some correspondence with the state. So generally, alternative 3 it has always been in the facility plan to be replaced. That was part of that 2016 facility plan. The hope was if there was enough funding dollars, or if there was a need to do an improvement, that would be part of a sewer replacement project. But so generally, if the project is funded by SRF, so funded by the state, they'll allow that. They'll allow something outside of the original scope to be eligible for funding, as long as it was included in the facility plan, which it is. And I talked to the state yesterday and today again about that. But since this project has ARPA funding with it, they won't allow anything outside of what was shown on this original map in the funding submittal request or the funding application. They won't allow that to be eligible for this funding because of that ARPA money. And my assumption is that the ARPA money is federal, and so the state, they can approve it, but to get the ARPA dollars reimbursed, they have to then send it to whoever monitors it on the federal level. And if it doesn't match the original scope of work that was submitted for that money, it's not going to be eligible. I did get that verified today. Alternative 3 is it's work that needs to be completed at some point. It just can't be completed using these funding dollars. So going into that bottom section, I've got it split out with alternative 1 and 2. We prepared cost estimates for each alternative. So for the storm sewer reroute, we're estimating that cost would be around $940,000. And so if that is the cost, we have a shortfall of about $200,000 in funding. Now, the alternative 2, the sanitary sewer reroute, this was part of the city's funding request recently to the state, and what we had requested on behalf of the city was $380,000 for that work. So that could be incorporated into this project, and it would fall within the funding limits that we have.
It just, we'll have to see if we get approved for that grant and at what percent and.
Yes.
What type of grant would that be?
That's the one we voted on last.
That is, okay.
Yeah, so we could combine the 4th Street with alternative number 2 and this alternative 1 into the same packet, or are they
So,
separate?
Yeah, you can. So right now you've obligated that $1.869 million.
Okay.
So about $750,000 left. With that remaining funding that you have, you can do either alternative 1 or alternative number 2. I mean, if you chose to do the storm sewer, you'd have a shortfall in financing of $200,000.
We would have to come up with 200,000.
If you chose to do, I mean, there's a lot of options here. You could choose to move forward and do the sanitary sewer reroute and reduce the scope of the storm sewer work.
Okay.
There's,
So this alternative 3, that short section on 4th Street to the east, that one we can't incorporate into this project because of the ARPA grant that we got. Okay, so we can just take that one off. Just trying to get it all straight.
So what happens if we look into just doing alternative 2 and then do like the underground something with the park for drainage instead of doing that full scope of work?
I mean, that is.
I mean,
an option.
depending on how much that would cost, but would that,
At some point in time, we need to do alternative 1. I mean, at some point down the line, it needs to happen in the storm sewer reroute. But
Because I think what our original plan was, we were gonna do 4th Street from the
But that's-
water tower to.
Yeah. The water main there.
Weston, do you think we'll have
Charles.
anything that the state or anything, or DNR will have anything come up that we can maybe?
Excuse me.
One in the future? As a funding package or not a funding package or a grant?
I mean, the city can always request funding from the state to assist with, infrastructure improvements, just like we have in the past. Well, it's hard to project when the funding packages will come out, similar to like the ARPA one. The state does have a consistent funding mechanism every year. They've got a certain amount earmarked for infrastructure projects within the state. But it's usually not a large sum of money like what we've seen through this ARPA program.
Well, what I'm just trying to say is like, I don't think we can come up with the 200 right now.
No,
I think we need to.
I agree, but in the future, you know, even if the state would give us a grant for it, it's gonna be a 75-25, 80-20, you know, whatever. You're still gonna have to come up with 20% eventually.
Yeah, but it's better than 200. What I'm trying to say is like we've talked before with, when we met with Austin and his group, is we still put the retention in the, out in the field and still connect to what we have out there and just slowly let it go out instead of trying to do it all at once.
Would you think about reducing the scope instead of going down Fifth Street with the storm sewer? Instead of going through the private property, at least run down Sixth Street north on Iowa Fifth and make the connection to the existing drain tile at that point. I'm more
So shorten it up.
to move that storm sewer out
So
of
just
that
do
private
here.
property. Yep,
And stop here
stop at
and
Fifth,
just,
and it could be potentially picked up at a later date.
what's there now? Just 6-inch drain tile?
6 inch piece.
That's
And-
under,
and-
that's under the ground at Fifth and Iowa there, my intersection.
We'd have to verify that the elevation of that drain tile, we'd be able to get a gravity drain out of there, but
How would you still put your 24-inch culvert then up there, up to that, and then just tie that drain tile into the culvert?
you know, whatever size would be required.
Just put a manhole there and.
Again, trying to take a conservative approach, calling it a
Mhm.
24, it might be an 18. Normally, we wouldn't recommend putting in a storm sewer less than 18 because it's hard to maintain, hard to clean out.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe-
And you
what do
don't
think-
want
what
to
do
go too small because in that respect, it would be something that would have to be redone eventually.
if you had capacity issues in the future.
I guess I'm not opposed to going 24-inch, so you know you're gonna handle what you need.
What do you think would cost savings would be by going that route?
Well, it'd be quite a bit, so we'd be saving about 1,200 feet of pipe and 1,200 feet of roadway. So I mean, it'd be
significant.
instead of that,
Do you think we could get, for say, alternative 1 and 2 still in our funding package if we went that route?
so I put some thought to this, of course. At the end of the day, you want to have as much flexibility as you can with these funding dollars. So we're putting forward cost estimates. These are based off of recent bids, you know, the scope of work that we're looking at. We don't know what a contractor is going to bid. We're trying to be conservative with it. So that way, when the bids do come in, hopefully there's not a shortfall and the city either has to reject the bid or has to go out and get another loan to pick up the shortfall. Some of this is already designed. So or there's been some work put into it. So there's some value there. So that alternative 2 with the sanitary sewer reroute, there's already some value there. It's kind of been evaluated. It wouldn't take a lot of effort to put that design together. This alternative 1, the reroute for the storm sewer, you know, we did put quite a bit of resources into that original route. But to do the reroute, since it's not like a street reconstruction, it's a little bit easier to put a plan set like that together. And I'll go back, you know, some other stipulations of this funding. These projects have to be designed, signed, and sent to the state by March 1, or it's not going to be eligible for funding. So with that being said, we kind of have a short timeline, and we're waiting still on the determination on the current funding request, which would include that alternative 2.
That's kind of where I was like, if we didn't, I mean, just go forward with the design of alternative 1, this, you know, the storm sewer reroute, and then do the sanitary reroute, hoping that numbers come back good in our favor
Well,
on that
we're-
package, and then we can subtract that out. But I was wondering what kind of, like, if it doesn't, would we still be able to have that remaining, still fall in our funding package or remaining, you think, with losing that 1,500 feet of?
I think you would be quite a bit closer. And
I see what you get.
design it all as it's going to be a system. You know, you're gonna have to put in that system. But if we have to cut the scope back and take off that 1,200 feet, to stay within the funding, dollars, then we would do that. So that would probably give you the most flexibility. Finish the design, give it to the state, but before March 1, they review that and then it's eligible to use the funding dollars. Whatever wouldn't be in front of the state before March 1, you're not going to be able to use funding dollars. And they don't want us, they've told us this many times, they don't want the funding dollars returned. Primarily because you're using the ARPA dollars first, the ARPA grant first, and the loan secondary. And from the beginning, when these projects were being scoped, there was an idea to scope these projects very large. Well, because there was going to be a lot of grant money with that. Well, utilize all the grant and then stop doing work. So that way you didn't pick up a loan. The state had specifically said, you're going to have to be within a close percentage of what that original ask was on your total expenditures. Otherwise, we're going to ask for some of this grant money back. Will they? I don't know. That's what they've told us. So the request is, yes, use all of the funding dollars, especially because you've got an 87% grant. So you want to use as much grant as you can. These are projects that need to be done. It's not just coming up with projects, it's infrastructure that needs to be put in place. So my opinion would be to design alternative 1, design alternative 2, finish the design on both those, provide that to the state, and then you can bid out the projects, because you'd have to bid out Second Street anyway. Bid out Second Street. You can bid out alternative 1 as an alternate bid. And if the bids come in favorably and it's underneath the dollar amount of the funding package, then you can do the work. If the bids don't come in favorably and you have a shortfall, we reduce the scope of the storm sewer work.
So am I correct, even to use that 750,000, it has to be approved or plan designed?
It has to be designed.
Okay.
And it has to be bid before the end of 2024. And then it has to be constructed before the end of 2025.
Yeah, I just hope that other funding package that we're going after right now, some of this falls into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least we have it designed, because we can always come back to it at a later time with the designs.
In the past, we've done this kind of alternates and it's worked out really good for us. That's how we got all that work done over on Glen and Ashland and all that.
So for that package that we just put in for a couple months ago,
Yep.
for second there, or that reroute to alternative 2, we didn't have to have a design for that already done?
No, because that there is a request, that scope of work. So we had to have a cost estimate together and a conceptual plan.
Okay.
So they want to know that at least there was a plan in place. There was some forethought to it for them to be able to make the recommendation to the board to say, hey, here's a project worthy of funding.
And now with that we received the community access grant plus a transportation grant, hoping that the state comes back and
Gives us a favorable, yeah.
Right now we have technically for 4th Street and in 6, well, 4th, mainly 4th, what, $1.2 million in grants right now.
Yep, 1.2, and then whatever financing comes through for utilities. So
What did we ask for?
What's this last one?
This last one we just did. Remember what the amount was?
well, I thought it was somewhere around 800,000 for the water and 300,000. Well, 380,000 for the sanitary, because that's the alternative 2.
Yep.
And I think it was close to 800,000 for the water.
So that'll cost, that should damn near about cover most of it.
So I guess what do they need from us then?
Just the okay to go ahead and design it.
Just go ahead and design it, and it's just kind of getting everybody up to speed of what's happening
And so and part of this, and so like going through the engineering side of it. So that engineering contract for the 188 and the 166, I did check today. There's about $75,000 left. in that contract. So that 70 to 75,000 was to finish second and then go through the construction out for alternative one or that reroute. Because that reroute of alternative two was included in this most recent funding request, the engineering costs. So to do the design, I would ask for an amendment to the engineering contract to do just the design. And I think that's how we would start, is just amend it for the design and not do any construction contracts until everything fell in place, the city finds out what type of funding package they've received from the state for the most recent request. And even to the bid, we can even go through the bidding and determine if the prices are within what the funding package allows. And then if that goes to construction, then we can negotiate at that time. And by doing like the storm sewer work at the same time as that Second Street work, we're not gonna have two different observers up here. We'll have one observer going back and forth. Same thing too, with whatever work's done in the office will be done by the same individual. So hopefully we can couple those two projects together, and it saves on cost as far as our time and services.
So when to kind of add on to that, when we send this out to bid with that storm sewer reroute, do you think we can get the same contractor to bid on both of those? Would we be able to piggyback off that?
Preferable is to bid them both as the same package. It would one would be an alternate. So the base bid would be the Second Street work, and then that alternate would be bid separately. If it's able to be funded, then.
So it might come in favorably if they know that they can stay in town and do both projects.
Yep. There'd be some time to some better pricing.
So
Already mobilized, already
what
here.
price are we looking at for the engineering? Or do you gotta-
Did not, so the design of that storm sewer reroute, if we do that whole thing, and I did put that in to this alternative one, that 940,000 shown below.
Yep.
That includes engineering fees.
Okay.
I think the design was somewhere around $40,000, $45,000, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Now, I did put this together in, the last couple half days.
Yep.
I didn't
And then-
like write down the scope
Yep.
or plan somebody out for it. That was purely based off of about this percentage.
Yep. And then the storm sewer, that 380 is also with the design built in.
Yep. And I don't recall what we
Yeah,
had.
I'd have to look back at the pamphlets.
One of the most difficult things about the storm sewer reroute is gonna be getting a survey right now. Cause we got a lot of snow cover, so I'm gonna have to grab a shovel and start finding curb and gutter.
There's a guy right there.
Right up in your neck of the woods.
I'll set the snow blower outside. You can grab it and drag it around town.
You got a big shovel with 4 wheels, don't you?
I can find curb and gutter and pretty good.
You've got a Gracie too. Put her to work.
Well, and this stuff shouldn't be too bad, since we're not doing a full street reconstruction.
So back to Austin's question. We're working on it.
Well, we don't want to cause you guys any more headache is our whole point. So whatever we can do to kind of mitigate some of the issues that would come up down the road, that's why we're coming to you guys. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. Looking what they got planned for the ball field.
Yeah,
Pretty
No.
nice. We can get it.
love to
We
see
can
it.
get it. We've had one of the nicest ball fields.
What's
around.
what's your timeline? Like when are you guys want
25. Do it in
25
25.
summer or
Yeah.
fall? Like
Yeah.
big spring, or
I get through a baseball season.
you want to get
It'd
through
be nice
baseball
to get through the
season?
baseball season. It's going to depend on how much how much work it's gonna take to do the ball fields. You know, when we get, I want to be done in 25, or we'd like to be done in 25, so that 26 it's being used.
Yeah.
So,
You get another winter though, like what we got.
yeah.
No, so I kind of told that group that they're kind of running with that. I mean, the city's gonna have the ultimate say at the end, but we're just gonna show our support and helping them.
We're, like I said, we're in the beginning stages right now of rounding up money, but before we go and really start advertising for it, we want to have all our ducks in a row, and we kind of want to have our designs all put together. And we've been working with these guys to try to get something laid out, and it'll put Colton in top.
So you're redoing the outfield then too? Is that kind of all?
Well, yeah, we'd like to get some drainage out there.
Some drainage
And
and
pick
then,
that up, because like you say, it's such a low, it's kind of a bowl there. And the problem we have right now is if you take on even a fairly insignificant rain event, I mean, you're shut down. I mean, Colton is just shut down. We went down to Beersford this last year and I think we got 3/4 inch of rain in just a matter of an hour. And they gave us another 45 minutes and we were playing ball.
Nice.
And finished it up. So we kind of like something similar that we could start having state tournaments here again and open it up for, I mean, honestly, with the designs we have,
There'll be people playing ball.
there'll be a lot of ball played. There'd be a lot of ball played.
Not
It'd
even
be a
try
very,
out.
very nice field. Very nice.
They'd be getting rented out and utilized.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be probably teams holding tournaments on it.
Yeah. You could talk colleges into coming and playing there. I mean, it'll be state of the art.
Yeah, I think I was even talking with Rick and he said Canaries do like they go out to Humboldt and play on there.
Mm-hmm.
we want the Twins.
That might be
Their new practice.
With that being said, has anybody got any more questions for Weston or Austin?
The only question I would have is say, you know, you do this design and we can't end up going through, or we have to back the scope down. The city will still be held for the full design, correct?
Yeah. But there's some value.
Yeah.
We'll still have it. So
Well, that's what I'm
future
trying.
years when we are ready to,
Yeah.
say we do back it down to Fifth and Iowa. And then 2 years down the road, we want to look at it again.
It's done.
We've already got the design somewhat done. It might just need to be updated a little bit and then we can just go through it. So
So the engineering amendment, I'll prepare that, and they said this has to be designed by March 1. So either way, if we're gonna move forward with it, I gotta get surveyors out here to get some shots on curb gutter, get some center line street shots. So they're gonna do that next week, and I think that's the consensus, is move forward with the design. And I'll follow it up with that amendment. And the contracts that we have had on the previous, large project, First Main, Glen, and then these most recent projects, it's all an hourly to a max contract. And that's contracts we've been writing. So we work an hour, we bill an hour. With whatever, level of individuals working on it, they bill at different levels. But that's how we bill the city. That's how we set up the fees, is we set it up saying it's going to take this many hours with this many different levels of individuals, and this is the total price. If we get to that price, and sometimes we don't always get to that price, but if we don't, the city doesn't pay that amount. If we do, sometimes we go over that amount, depending on where the inefficiencies were at. If it was on our end, we use that cost. If it wasn't, it was out of scope work, we'll go and ask for a change or amendment in the project. So this is just one of those where it's additional scope. We'll ask for the amendment, and hopefully at the end, we don't have to use all of that. But again, it's an hourly to a max contract.
do we need to make a motion on this then?
So
Or
if
is
someone
this-
like if there's no more discussion, we can get a motion to have Banner move on with design with alternative 1 and 2. That would be my suggestion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion from Matt Watnick, second from Janice Foster. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right.
Thank you.
Unless you want to sit around,
As always.
some stuff.
I'll get out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Be
No,
seeing a
thank
lot
you.
of
You
us
guys.
over the
I'll go
last
you-
2 years.
I'll go.
No.
Come on.
You wouldn't want me making decisions. Well,
Thanks, Austin.
yeah, all right. See ya.
See ya. All right, we'll move on to, thanks for coming up, Weston.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time too.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll move on to 2024 baseball sponsorship updates. Riley, you can kind of touch on this. You did put this together for us.
These are the two deals. that we're
Yep,
doing?
there we got our welcome letter and our welcome back letter.
So I wrote two different versions. One kind of, the first one you're looking at is going to be the returning sponsors. So the highlighted areas are areas that need obviously to be striked out and updated with a new date. This needs to be a collaboration, and I don't know how you guys want to do this, but what do you guys as a group want to have listed here? So your sponsorship for 2023 has helped us blank.
I
So
had,
how
I
do
had
you-
on here just that it, helped us to create a positive impact on the experience of the residents and guests
I mean,
of
we did-
Colton or of, I mean, it's not just for baseball. It's
No, but what they're,
it's for everybody.
but
So
what they recently just pretty much just did was purchase
For
lights.
baseball, right?
So I gave an example on the original. If you guys want to look at that.
Okay.
With the sponsorship of 2023, we were able to add additional lighting on the, I don't know what field you would consider it at Redway Park. Allows our facility to host evening games on all three fields. We were able to make noticeable enhancements to the pool bathhouse, which included painting interior walls and resurfacing the bathhouse floor to ensure safety and cleanliness.
Didn't we add a concession stand too?
Well, that was my question. Did we consider that part of the sponsorship dollars? I wasn't sure.
Well,
Because I thought
think,
we did something else to fund that, but I don't remember.
no, we did.
I think that just came out of the general fund.
Right, so I didn't know. I didn't put it in there because I wasn't
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, it was, well, it's not technically built for this year yet either, so.
Right.
So I would leave that one out. The only one I would say, we wouldn't be able to host on all three fields. It's just our two fields.
Just two fields.
The west field
Yeah,
with
the
the new
west.
lights, that's what I would consider the west
So
field,
the west field, okay.
right?
And
With,
then
the-
we'd
with
be
the
able
new
to
lights.
host
Which is-
games on two of the three fields.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you want me to take this snip and just plug it in for your sponsorship has helped us blank?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
And I got some pictures that I did take this summer. So I kind of wanted to add that into the back of the,
So
the welcome back one.
Yeah.
So I got some of the lights and then with the sponsorships, and I kind of wanted to put that on there too, like what our fields look with the sponsorship, because I think that changed a lot of people that actually, were maybe on the fence of doing it last year. And then once they got out to the field, I mean, they loved the looks of how that field looked, and then like, yeah, I want to get my name up on there. So next year, so.
One thing is, I mean, so, you have it stated as add additional lighting. I mean, the sponsorship hasn't paid completely, it's gonna be a multiple year thing that the sponsorship's gonna help pay for.
Yeah, but it is additional. I mean,
It is
without-
additional, but what I'm getting at is it's not like it funded the whole light right today. You know what I'm getting
No,
at?
But it did. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to move forward with it.
Yeah.
So,
I like the way it's worded.
yeah.
I was just thinking like next year, I mean, what are we gonna be able to put in there is what I'm trying to get at. Cause you're not gonna wanna put the
Concession
same,
stand.
well, yeah, but you're not gonna
We'll
wanna
figure out
put the
something.
same thing.
I don't think we have to get in the gritty video
I
where,
don't think
Yeah.
so, because really you're identifying for the sponsorship of 2023. whether it paid for the entireties of it or just paid us to support us getting them up. I still think that's something when they're sitting there as a sponsor, they're looking over and being like, shit, I helped contribute to that.
Mhm.
I think they're fully aware that it wouldn't have paid for the full lighting, and I don't know how you'd reword that to make it make sense. Like your sponsorship helped in the contribution of adding additional lighting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it'd be to help improvements to the field. I
Right.
mean,
Well, I'm hoping that maybe if there's more sponsorships, we have more bragging points. Like we can do concession stands, or maybe we do something else. I mean, we don't have to add something every year. It can be more boilerplate every other year if we
Yeah.
really didn't do much with it.
I think this issue, that was a huge,
Yeah.
a
The
huge,
lights is a
that was a big
huge
deal. And
Yeah.
then I think next year, you know,
Or-
they'll see what goes on, you know, and then with the lights, and then, you know, just a constant reminder of, you know, you're helping and cater it to the youth. I mean, that's what
yeah, oh, yeah.
everybody likes their money going towards youth projects, so,
Did a good job. I like
Thank you.
yeah.
I was messing with the coloring up there.
I love it.
Well, I was trying. I
What do you
don't
mean,
know
the
how.
Colton blue? You want to get rid of the Colton blue?
No, it's
Tri
not
Valley.
blue. It wasn't blue. I was trying to get it to look more like Tri Valley up here, but
It looks fine.
No, I like
it
it.
was a little more blood red than I thought. But, oh well.
Speaking on that, Noah, how are you coming? What? Your project.
What project?
You got the
Contacting
contacting sponsors?
Oh, no, I was gonna talk to her about that too. It's on my, I wanted, yeah. Well, we needed to get this letter done first, so,
Well, and we
because
can
I have a plan for it, but I want this letter finalized and
Yeah.
done, the new
one.
one. Yeah, you were gonna send it out to all the returning ones, but this new introduction letter.
So
So you're saying you're gonna get some miles on your work pickup for once?
Well, you know,
Today, I seen him going down the interstate.
I know, I passed you, were going slow as hell.
So couple things. Do we have, you know, when they kick off with the first scheduled game?
I can find that out.
And then the other thing is, in order for me to send this letter, we have to pinpoint an opening day for the pool.
Just put.
We do that.
No.
Well, 6/14 is what we did last year, so.
When's the
It's
last
got-
day of school?
Well, it's gonna be right around that time.
I don't know. I have to pull up the school schedule. No, on the list of current
6:15
sponsors,
Saturday.
You wanna kick it off on
I want to print that out.
you wanna kick it off on a Saturday?
'Cause I'm gonna-
Heather's listening. It's the second weekend of May for Little Leagues.
Second weekend,
Or second week of May.
Does she have a date?
It's usually the second day after the snow melts off the field.
If she has a date, I'll just add the date.
Second week of May for Little Leagues. High school schedule is in the works now.
Does she have a date for that, or just you just know? it's
The high
second?
school is usually early, and it's usually, like he said, the second day after the snow melts off the field.
Yeah.
So how do you guys want me to word this?
Well, you have it
Just-
in there, just tentatively weather permitting. I think you just keep it.
Around May
that's fine.
13th.
First
So-
week of May is gonna be.
Tentatively May 13th. I would just say with weather permitting.
Well, the high school starts
That's what Shirley just said.
April
May 13th.
for high school. You said youth.
No, youth is the second weekend. Oh, yeah.
Youth
Yeah,
is second week in
high
May.
school-
High school
High school, yeah,
starts as soon as the
Probably
snow is melted. They're
April
gonna be
20th or
on the
something.
field. Yeah, they're gonna be.
I just leave it at April 4th, depending on
Yeah.
weather. I would.
Yeah, I'd leave it.
just
I'd leave it what it is. I wouldn't
just
even
leave
change it. I'd just
Well, I
update
have
the
to
year.
change it the year,
Yeah,
so
just update the year and
April 8th.
no.
I just go April 24,
First part of April. I would just put first part of April. Yeah.
There you go.
April 24.
Weather permitting. Keep the weather permitting in there. And then
Okay.
as far as the pool, you just got to figure out.
Kickoff beginning in April.
Would
Yeah.
we do it on a
Okay.
Saturday? Is it a Saturday or a Friday?
It can be any.
Let's just leave it the 14th because that's a Friday.
All right, leaving it at the 14th.
Just change the
Change the year.
change your year.
Yep.
You just change your sponsorship or your sponsorship and no, never mind. Take that back.
Okay.
And then, well, go ahead. Sorry, Riley.
No, that's fine. That works for me. I'll make the edits and I'll send it over to Michaela.
And then,
What about the bottom where it says,
Now, what date do you want all the sponsorship, new sponsorship
as soon as we can
applications? So,
start getting them out. 'cause-
well, she had in here by date.
Well, this was pre-filled from
Oh.
last year. So what did you ask them to commit to? May 1?
Well, last year we were kind of under the gun, so, no, I think we want sponsorships information back by
March
then. And then,
31st?
yeah, March 31st, that's what I was gonna say. Because
Okay,
by
or
the time we get
last
their
working
sign
day in
made,
March.
you can't put that under sign design under short notice and expect us to be at the top of the list to make a sign, you know?
Yep.
What do you mean?
If you do April, if we just do April 1, it's a Monday.
Okay.
And with our welcome backs, there really doesn't, well, I guess.
We
to put-
still need to know if they're
We
coming.
have Pete put that sign back up.
I think I'll leave them both April
Okay.
1st. So we at least know.
Yeah, if you want any help better, let me know. And then I think Michaela, you gotta kind of have how it's set up is in Excel right now, the list, because then she can just put it in there and not have to transfer everything and automatically clicks it onto the.
Yep.
Deal. Right? Yeah, okay. Okay,
Yeah, I just need the list of current sponsors we had last year, just so I don't double up by accident. I don't want to go there and be like, well, what do you mean? We already did. I don't want to be that guy.
yeah, Michaela can get you that.
Other than that, I think it looks good.
Thanks.
looks great.
That's good.
Had
Thank
no-
you, Riley, for
I
doing
had
that.
no doubts.
Yes, thank you.
Like you.
Okay. All right.
Where are we
Moving on.
going next?
Dell's ambulance service contribution amount. So we budgeted it, but we didn't really decide on an amount, whether we wanted to do one this year or what.
We talked about reducing the amount, right?
Yep, we just budgeted, if you see in here, Michaela printed out 6,000.
Yep,
No. Was it just 10,000?
they requested 10
The
and we,
amount that they requested was 10,
Oh, okay, sorry.
and we budgeted 6,000.
For last year.
Yeah, I thought we went 10. The amount request for our budget was 10. For
yeah, but then we
2024.
took that out.
No, we had to take away from it.
yeah,
So
we did take
originally
away.
Did 10, but then I think we ended up having to scale back on it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if it was, was it the 6,000?
I think that's what it was.
Because I was gonna say, I think we determined 5
I can
was,
pull it up here.
I was gonna say, I thought it was 6.
I think it
but
was
we
five.
just-
That order, was it?
I think you're right. It was 6.
In 2022, it was. The ordinance wasn't in that packet. Or at least not that I seen, because it started on the older dates.
We got, I'll get the actual amount. You guys can discuss on what you think you want to do. Or,
I remember we had a pretty strong reason why
well, because there was years that we didn't,
Well,
no,
have
we
funds
needed that money somewhere else though,
to
did we?
balance the budget.
Right.
I think we've had a lot of costs that have incurred this year for the 2023. I think 6,000 is still reasonable.
I think it is too.
It's still a contribution and it's full donation.
Yeah, because what was the amount we gave last year? Remember?
4,000.
4,000?
No,
Amount, amended amount, so our amended amount is $6,000.
nothing was paid last year.
No, so we didn't. It didn't.
Last year was last year in 2022 when they came and presented to us. Or was that before that?
That was the year before
Is
that.
that the year
Yeah,
before
when
that?
we gave it,
Cause he presented to us after budget was
Yeah,
set, so we
after
couldn't
budget,
do
yeah.
anything. And then the following year, I don't think we had the dollars there, or we didn't allocate it, so this would have been the first,
Mhm.
would this have been our first year to contribute?
Yep.
To donate?
yeah. So what I had, this is what Tobias put in for it, because when we first did it, our first read was 10,000. We amended minus 4,000, and then ended up with an amended amount of 6,000.
I think six is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think six is a generous donation. I mean, they do service a lot with the retirement community as a senior owner. So
With that being said.
And
you're
the
gonna-
last time that the city paid was in 2019.
I was gonna say, I think it's been a couple years
It's
since he.
time that we do it, so, that being said, do you wanna make a motion to approve $6,000?
I'll make a
to the
motion.
Delaware
I'll
Rapids
second
Ambulance
it.
Service. Motion was made by Tyler Evans, second by Joe Fulcher. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Passes.
I like this quarterly activity. 7 speeding tickets.
Did you create this or did they offer this to us?
Remember how I
requested
told
it.
you I got us on the quarterly list?
Oh, this is it.
So they sent us this.
So the quarterly list is page 8.
So we did get speeders here.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to know if like they were actually writing citations and yeah, because I still see people speeding through town all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. I personally think not enough. 3 months, 7 ticket, eight tickets.
Should be 10 times that,
I agree.
especially in semis.
I know they can't be here all the time. So
No, I get it, but they put in
Especially a guy that holds cocaine.
67 hours in 1 month.
Not Leroy that does the
Semi?
semi.
Oh,
The semi. Oh my gosh, she's got to be going 60 plus past my place.
Right.
Yeah, giving her the groceries the entire time.
You need to get a box of shovels and stand out at the end of the driveway and throw shovels at them.
Let's throw more. I thought I'll give them some precious metal.
so they were here 67.75 hours for the whole month of December.
Yeah.
I can have my parents take their blue lights and make them blink.
So that's-
Yeah.
I was thinking about cutting out a sheriff's car and painting it and just set it there in my driveway. Then I get
Yeah,
busted
I
for
mean-
impersonating a police officer.
It's over 2 hours a day. There's, you're only going to catch so many people when you're only here for 2 hours.
Well, they need to pick their time
Pick their
better.
day. Okay,
Well, ain't nothing we can do about
moving
that.
on.
You wanna go to Canada to get your truck?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Where you going?
So-
Mohall, North Dakota?
He's already been there.
He's already been there. Let him look
Oh,
at
you
it.
already went?
When they talked to him, I'm like, he left at like 4 o'clock in the morning and go up there.
Did you take the red truck too?
No.
He had to come back with a truck. So Pete does have pictures of it if anybody would like to see it. It's a pretty nice truck.
3/4 ton enough?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't need anything bigger than that.
What's this gas though? 7.3 or
6.2.
6.2?
6.2 with a 6-speed transmission. That's 26,000 miles. 2024 250. Super cabs, just an extended cab. We don't need a crew cab. It's white.
When we get then, we'll put on a logo just like we normally would.
So I don't think we're gonna find a better deal with the low miles for 39,000.
It's cheaper than what we budgeted. wasn't it?
Well, we still gotta put the utility on.
box it.
Oh,
Yeah, that utility box. Have you looked at those yet, price wise? Probably
I
eight,
can buy a.
8 to 12 for a new
I can
one.
buy a generic one for 15, or the one that I
That's
spec'd out
nice.
is 22.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle there.
When you, at our next council meeting, bring those options to us.
Yeah, this one's in good shape. I went up and test drove it, looked at it.
Are they holding it for you?
They are.
Yeah, this is what's that
You wanna
purchase.
make
Sure.
That's why I didn't want to post one or
The
maybe
only,
post on
the only
there.
thing I found wrong with it is the driver, or the passenger side mirror. It moves up and out, but it doesn't move in. So I don't know if it's a motor issue or maybe a lubrication issue, one of the two. But that's the only thing I could.
And they're replacing this windshield.
Yeah, they're
I think as long as it starts and you don't have to charge it, I think you'll be golden.
It's too nice for you. Go find a different one.
Are
I
they,
can't have you looking that good driving around town.
jealous. I want a white pickup like what you got.
You wanna be like me?
So, Trevor sent the pictures. I noticed that there was a little wrench symbol on the dash.
Yeah, so they got to replace the windshield because it's got a crack in it. And then when they were detailing it, the gal that was detailing it spilled water on the passenger side floorboard, and it shorted out the controller that shifts the four-wheel drive in and out.
Okay.
So that's what the wrench is all about, is that controller that he's got on order from Ford.
Okay.
and he's replacing all that. Are they gonna do anything about the mirror then?
He said he wasn't gonna do anything about the mirror. I asked him about that. That would be on us, I guess.
Go ahead, you can use it.
We don't look in the past, we look in the future, right?
It's not my phone.
No, he was showing you pictures. Did
Oh.
you have pictures of it?
You've seen pictures, right? Yeah.
I've seen pickups before.
I was like,
Oh, boy.
what do you want me to do with your phone?
We weren't on camera. I was saying a few other things.
Okay, with that being said, is there any other questions about this vehicle?
What do you need from us?
This motion to approve purchase.
This is the one you want, Pete?
Well, and I think if this is the nice thing too, we got out of the, it doesn't have the 10-speed
Oh, yeah.
doesn't have the 10-speed transmission, which we don't want that in town anyway, so this still has a 6-speed and no diesel. So
Yeah, no, we don't want a diesel.
we'll mess around with that.
Too many problems coming.
And then what we talked about too is when we do with once we get the utility box and all that, we'll surplus the current box and sell that.
Truck.
We're not gonna store that box.
No.
Oh, the takeoff. Yeah.
Yep. Because this truck will last us another 20 years, 25 years, you know.
You also see where you buy your utility box at, if they'll take it.
I asked him that question
I
already.
probably said no. Yeah.
So I don't want it.
I did already reach out and ask for an insurance quote. Haven't got that back yet. And even if the box does cost about 22,000 with the registration, it'll still be under the
Budget come up.
65,000 budget, so. But the dealership wants the check mailed out tomorrow. So that's why we need the vote.
I will make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion from Matt Watnick, second from Julie Lyons. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Pete's getting a new truck.
I think what happened with this one is the guy listed the truck, but he didn't put even pictures of it. Because he said he didn't want to put pictures out with the windshield cracked or whatever. So he's waiting to get the new windshield and he was gonna add the pictures to the post. So I don't think anybody was calling on it. I just called it because it met what I was looking for. I said, "Hey, you got any pictures?" And so he texted me a bunch of pictures. I'm like, "Can I come up tomorrow and look at this thing?" So
How do you expand your search that far out?
I don't know. It must have been by accident.
How far is it?
Canada.
Like 540 miles.
Holy
He's like what, 5-10 minutes from the Canada border?
Yeah, they talk different up there even.
Oh
Oh yeah, I work with people in Mulholland. It's a different culture there.
If you need somebody to drive your pickup back, Chaz is usually available.
I was thinking maybe you could fly up there.
Yeah.
I'll just parachute out.
Oh yeah, I'll just call in some favors.
Yeah, we
do
did
that,
check.
I'm going with.
We did check and do like a hot shot, and it's gonna be about $1,500 to have it delivered. So I think so. Pete's not volunteering. He's gonna get paid to go out there, but he's willing to go out there and retrieve it.
Who's gonna go with you?
It'd be a dinner date with the old lady.
Vacation for the weekend.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Is that where you guys were today? Okay.
Yeah.
Find me dinner. just
Well,
buy
you're
me
that
pop.
close. You might as well.
He had an eye doctor's appointment.
You got your passport. You can go across the.
I thought about sneaking across just to be a rebel.
Okay, we're going on to the resolution. Okay.
All right, resolution
Moving
number,
on. Okay, so moving on to resolution number 1, 2024 pre-disaster mitigation plan for Minnehaha County. Now,
I think Chaz and I and Trevor kind of sat in on these meetings. It's been the whole process, but it's just a standard mitigation, flooding mitigation, hazard mitigation plan. They've already got one in place we're currently operating under. This is just a newer version, more or less, is all it is.
if you guys
They
read the,
haven't changed a whole lot.
if you guys read the 600-page email. you'll
Read every
understand.
word.
I
Verbatim.
did.
No, it's
Spell check.
it's pretty much self-explanatory on that. So,
You just have to, disaster on the second line is spelled wrong.
oh, yep.
I didn't write it, Sophie did.
So I'm going to change on that. But I suppose I better read it. Anyway. A resolution of the city of Colton declaring support and adoption of the 2023 pre-disaster mitigation plan for Minnehaha County and Lincoln counties. Whereas the city of Colton supports the contents of the 2023 pre-disaster mitigation plan for Minnehaha County and Lincoln counties. Whereas 2023 pre-disaster mitigation plan for Minnehaha County and Lincoln counties will be utilized as a guide for planning related to FEMA hazard mitigation and other purposes as deemed appropriate by the city of Colton. Now therefore it be resolved into the city of Colton hereby adopts, supports, and will facilitate the implementation of the 2023 disaster mitigation plan for Minnehaha County and Lincoln counties. And the January 2024. Any questions or concerns on that?
Are we gonna approve it with the spelling errors?
We can make the
Or just
Mm,
ask to
motion
have
for the-
those?
Well, we gotta change the date too, so.
with the appropriate changes of spelling and the date. It was scheduled for yesterday, but
I'll make a motion with those corrections.
motion from Riley Amundson,
I'll second.
second from Chaz Foss. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed, same sign. Resolution number 1 dash 2024 passes. Approval of agenda. 12:18. Any issues or concerns on the agenda from then?
Are we just on the agenda? We're not on the.
Well, we can group them all together if you want to. We'll just group the agenda and the meeting minutes of that meeting together. Did you find some issues, Riley?
Number 4, reports and other business. Motion.
Yeah, I already fixed that.
Okay. She's all over it then.
Did you find anything, Julie?
So one thing you guys could look at is, when we talked about the Midco internet service for City Hall, when I contacted the Humboldt finance officer, I explained the situation in an email, and the response I got back was very minimal. It just said, yes, we now pay for internet service, but we get cable service for free. I tried to look through their agenda and minutes to kind of see if I could find anything, but I didn't. And when I called Golden West, they said that internet would be the same price, about $65 as we put in at the East Side shop. So
Is that just for here?
just for City Hall. We're gonna be looking to disconnect the internet at the east side shop.
And move it to the fire hall.
No. Fire hall has internet already.
They did something in the office there.
Yeah, Golden was
Yeah.
put some stuff in, but we're not using that
Yeah.
yet. We've
Because
got
we're
Midco
gonna-
internet.
Yeah.
The internet is gonna be, what did he call it? Like transferred over, so we don't have to pay for two internets.
Oh, we're just gonna piggyback off the internet at the fire station for the
Mhm.
shop.
But we would still be switching that from Midco to,
Or it's still gonna remain mid.
or is it gonna remain Midco?
It'll remain Midco
Okay,
unless the fire department wants to change to something else.
okay.
We're just gonna do a point-to-point receiver, so we could just shoot a signal from there to the shop.
Okay.
We would have to pay for that service. Cause it's what, $65 for the internet, and then it's what, $1,400 for a firewall or something to do that. It's like,
No.
yeah.
That was, IT's okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It just needs power ran or something.
Yeah, I gotta run a
Just some-
cable and put a receiver or whatever on the outside of the building.
And then we did switch over to the new phone system, the 8x8 system. And that was on Friday. And then we're waiting for our phone numbers to port over before we cancel the Golden West phone lines, the landlines. Let's see here. There is on page 2, the annual costs and the monthly costs. I guess I didn't do annual. The difference between Golden West monthly is about $318, and 8x8 is about $120 or $125. I don't know which page in the packet that is.
13.
Page 13.
Yeah,
Just
and the
asking.
bottom 13.
Riley was
Yeah.
looking. So
Okay.
I was just wondering.
No, I thought that's what it was.
Remember how we didn't have long distance that worked at City Hall?
Mhm.
Well, after I got it fixed in October, that's when I started seeing on the Golden West bill 14 cents a minute charge for any calls made outside of Colton.
So Calm Baltic is long distance.
Oh, yes.
Calling my house is long distance from here.
Any number that's not the 446 number, basically.
Crazy.
And how long can it be paid that?
Only since sometime in October when I got the phone line switched around.
Otherwise, we weren't even able to call out.
No, you couldn't call out.
So are we able to do we need to make a motion on this tonight? And are we able to? Is there anything we need to do?
No,
No.
Okay.
No, she's just kind of.
just some details that
Right,
I
that's
added
what I
in
just-
there.
Yeah, now the phone system is under Wi-Fi calling, so. We just need a motion to approve the agenda and meeting minutes, that's all on this.
Thank you for looking into that though and finding that they're charging us long distance.
Can I add that pass?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Riley,
I'll second it.
second from Joel Mosher. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The agenda for December and the meeting minutes for December are approved. Moving on to claims.
Michaela, did you pull this out of a software or did you create this?
I created this.
Just kind of a mess to float out of the system, wasn't it? All the time?
Well, it prints out that big, long sheet, and so I just,
Well, there's no detail to it too.
yeah, I just put it on a spreadsheet so that it was easier to look at and to read.
The Humane Society, it's just missing a dollar sign.
Yes, I saw that. And so are the couple underneath
I
that.
was gonna say.
Meyer Henry spelled wrong. The R should be an I.
No, but I do like it like this way.
I was gonna
So
say,
any
I've
resident-
never
That's
seen this
nice.
before, so that was.
Any resident can grab this packet and,
simple to look at.
and understand what's going on without you having to be there.
That's the goal.
Well, even us.
I just like it better than like in a paragraph format, and I didn't like how the software printed it out.
Mhm.
So I thought this was much easier.
I actually asked for something similar to this a while ago, so this is a beautiful thing.
Would it be possible, and maybe I'm just overthinking it, to put, you know, the 401, like where the funds are actually coming from?
Yeah, if I
mean,
print out
just
that
a-
software one.
Well, just a column even where 401, you know, whatever, so you know it's coming general fund, water fund, XYZ. You know, so you can glance at this and we can go, okay, that's where that's coming from. You know what I mean?
I think you're overthinking it.
I think you're thinking.
Because I think, I get where you're going with that, but I think when I see the bills, this is so much easier. Just to,
Well, then if you got taken as multiple funds too, then it could
Gets
Messy
very
again.
dirty, yeah. Meyer Henry spelled it wrong again. on 16
That's probably because I just did copy paste. So it's MEI.
ER.
Okay.
Yeah.
MEI. Okay. MEI.
I know the one thing that we kind of, her and I talked about is our goal at some point in time, not now, since she's digging into a lot of
I'm
things.
getting there though.
You're getting there. You've
Getting there.
been working good. Is to have a cheat sheet of where we're sitting at budget and what we have left in remaining budget. So when we can see everything kind of ticking down and know. But
Like a scorecard, like a
Yep.
quick glance.
Yep.
Quick glance.
Of what's remaining and what we spent.
Are you expecting her to produce this monthly or quarterly or what?
We could probably just do it quarterly. I don't think it needs to be on the agenda every month, but
Okay.
that's nothing right now. We're working on. She's got other bigger fish to fry.
So you need a motion to approve the claims or?
Yep.
I'll make
Any
a motion.
questions?
I don't have any questions, no.
Is that supposed to be CFOG or is that supposed to be CCOG?
There's two,
There is two different organizations.
Okay,
which I didn't
okay.
realize. One is the Southeastern the Southeastern Finance Officers
Yep, and the other one is the Southeastern.
Council of Governments.
Okay,
One's COG and one's FOG, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Is that a motion from you, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, motion from Joe,
1 second.
second from Chaz Foster. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes to approve the claims.
So are we all caught up?
I'm like,
on
yeah.
Missing payments
I
that
was
we've had
just
over the
gonna
last.
ask
Just
that.
about.
Okay, I see you got a lot in here
Yeah.
for Classic Corner. I want to make sure that we are getting them paid for sure, just because they are a big supporter of the city, so.
Yes. And I broke that one down because I know you guys wanted to know what was specifically the concessions and
Who's
gas.
that?
I did.
Vulture
I
and
did.
Foster.
You second?
Yep.
Appreciate all the hard work you're doing, Miguel.
Yeah, no, I've seen in here some late
And then
nights,
you
so
want to just fill in.
Sometimes I get my best work done then.
it's quiet.
Michaela,
Phone doesn't
we just
ring.
need to put the 6,000.
Doors
in that
locked.
box.
Yeah.
Doors, yeah, the
And
door's
then-
locked.
Then
That being said, is there any other issues or concerns from anybody?
The meeting minutes from tonight, they just need the date corrected and the time. I don't know if you,
Yep, I did that already.
thank you.
That being said, motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Joel,
I will second.
and Matt. All those in favor say aye.
I
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.
Pete, need somebody
There
to
you go,
look
guys,
at
on like
it.
a record time.
Just let me know.